Welcome back to Great Day. There are all kinds of lessons to learn in life, and for our next guest, most of those lessons are in the classroom, but their greatest lessons are actually taking place right now as they volunteer to help people in need in our community. Please welcome. We have with us Victoria, Colin, and Lucas. And Victoria is with the Community of Faith Youth Group, and Colin and Lucas are with St. Pius High School. All right, Victoria, you are what we call a PK, and for those of you who don't know what that is, that's a preacher's kid, all right? So you grew up knowing how to give, but I would imagine when it comes down to situations like this, is that you learn such valuable lessons.
Yes, it's definitely, it makes it all so real. You know, you always hear you're supposed to volunteer and this and that, but when it hits so close to home, I think it's definitely a different situation, and it kind of, under such horrible circumstances, unfortunately, it reminded us that there's still good left, seeing everybody come together and work together to rebuild Texas. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience.
I would imagine a lot of lessons from the Bible kind of come to life in that sense that you grew up with.
Yes.
All right, and for you, how did you start volunteering, and why did you start to volunteer?
I started volunteering in my neighborhood, and we had a father of who I went to elementary school with, and we felt like taking a part of it and joining in the rebuilding of Houston. So.
Yeah. And what has been the biggest lesson you've learned so far?
My biggest lesson, I've just not given enough to the community, and it was about time I finally gave back, and I love doing that.
Yeah, I love hearing that from such young people. You know, so many times we hear in the news what young people are doing wrong, and we don't share or spotlight enough what they are doing right, and this is an example of that. And studies show if you volunteer as a child, you'll probably most likely be a volunteer as an adult as well, and pass that on to your children. We just had Neil Bush on earlier, and it's the things that his parents had done as well. All right, Lucas, for you, why did you decide to volunteer?
I started volunteering because my friend's house got flooded, and I was actually over there at the time, and I decided we were getting all their furniture up, making sure they could save whatever they could. And then when I finally got out of their neighborhood, I just decided to help with the baseball team at St. Pius. We went around, helped a few houses for a few days, and then the football team needed help, and I went to go help with them.
Yeah.
And
what did you learn through this process so far?
People have it a lot harder than you may think. Some of us, we didn't get affected at all. Some of us lost everything, houses, including cars.
Your memories, your belongings, all that.
Everything. And that's a part of life, but when you can give back to those people who lost everything, it kind of makes them feel like they belong, like they have somebody there whenever they're in their toughest times.
Yeah, and again, that's a great point that you just make, is that it kind of, in you helping someone else, in the back of your mind is, if I ever need help, maybe it comes back to me too.
Yes.
And that's what creates community.
Yes.
Right?
Sure.
What types of things did you do?
So I will be leading a Youth Army of Hope, and we will be relaunching a project called Baking to Bless, which is a project we did to help those in Haiti affected by an earthquake in 2010. And also we are asking other youth to support Houston, HTownCares.net and the Youth Army of Hope, and they can do that by logging on to HTownCares.net and clicking on Youth Army of Hope, and basically just all coming together to do little projects in here and there to make a big difference.
Yeah, and when you volunteer, you show up and say, look, I'm ready, willing, and able. You never know what you're going to do. Some things you probably did for the first time. What were some of the projects that you did to help people get back on their feet?
Well, we went to their houses. We pulled up their carpeting, anything. We moved furniture. We helped them pack their belongings that they got left around and got flooded. But we cracked out drywall and all that, and it was just an eye-opener how lucky we are to be safe from that sometimes.
Yeah, and then have you started school back already?
Yes.
Yeah, you all have started school already, but you're not giving up on what you're doing. You're going on the weekends also.
Yeah, I'm continuing to help with my family. A lot of them were affected. They lost cars, so we've been stripping out their houses and throwing out everything that they've lost. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing for the next few weekends.
Yeah. All right, what do you have to say to other young people out there who might think, well, I could help, but they just need that one more push to get up and do it. And how does it make you feel when you do something like that?
It makes you feel better about yourself, because usually most kids are blamed for sitting around the house all day, but whenever you get out there and you help, at first it may seem like you don't want to do it, but once you get out there you realize, hey, this isn't that bad, and I actually want to do this more and more, and it'll push you to keep going.
Yeah. You?
Well, just go out there, go do it. It was an eye-opener, and it was a lot of fun. You meet new people, you do all that, you get to hear their story, and just everything. It's a great way to get into your community.
Yeah. And Victoria?
I think a lot of young people, of course, think, oh, I'm too young to help, I'm too young to do this. But once you break down that barrier and you see that every little bit helps and you can do so, it's such a rewarding feeling. When you see if you can just make one person smile a day, you never know what someone has been going through. So I say, go out there and do it. It's such a rewarding feeling, and you won't be upset that you did. You'll be glad.
I'm not concerned about the next generation. I think we're going to be just fine. All right. Thank you all very, very much. When we come back, there are some other areas of the city where we need a lot of help. There are several people at NRG and GRB. And so one of the efforts is to get the volunteers down there and help folks not only find a place to be and to be safe, but also get them to work as well so they can earn a living to get their lives back together. We'll be right back. We'll tell you more about that.